The first thing is I am currently using a Comica eJoy D10 Pro, which is kind of in
Hmm.
front of me right there. And I'm going to switch and ask John to give me his opinion of a new mic I just bought. So let me change my microphones if I can remember how. All right. So I'm going to switch from the Comica eJoy D10 Pro TX. Oh, no, the TX is just transmitter to the Boya Magirless, which is this guy having a little tripod. Can you still hear me, Jay?
Hmm. Yeah, I can hear you well.
Was there a
A
noticeable?
little bit, a little bit of a bassier tone and louder in a sense, but that's also because you're
Ah,
moving it around and the
right,
other
right,
mic
right,
is stationary.
right.
But I mean, hopefully it sounds good because thanks to you, I'm also using the exact same microphone, just in lavalier format. So hopefully
Yeah,
I sound decent. I did do some tests this week that I shared with you between
yeah,
this and AirPods and a few other things, and so I was pretty happy with the Boya. I thought it had really good sound, and for what is, I think they advertise as a 4-in-1. It is crazy all of the different things, all the different
right.
configurations you can use it in.
Yeah.
Uh, so
So
yeah,
John is using,
I'm
yeah,
using it in lavalier mode. It comes with
yeah,
two mini lavaliers, and
right,
then it can sit inside of its charging case and also be used as a handheld microphone. It can be
right,
put on
which
a
I'm holding up.
tripod, as Todd has, and you can also it comes with windscreens, two different windscreens for the
Yeah,
main body unit, and then two of the puff windscreens for the lavaliers. So you can
yeah,
really, yeah, it's a little canvas bag that we have as well. So
yep,
I was pretty shocked by how advanced these things are getting. And it really
right,
does show, they talk about that with podcasts and with YouTube and all that. It's audio quality that people turn off to if it's poor.
hmm,
And some of the stuff I've been seeing lately that's AI generated video, I can understand because it's just the audio is what they really go for. It's a narration by a human and then a bunch of AI generated pictures to basically go with the story that's being told. And yeah, if you can get good audio, and I'd say that for under $100 or around about
yes,
when it's on sale or not on sale, it's a pretty decent option out there
yeah. This
today.
is a budget microphone. This is not a, not a cheap microphone. You can buy much less expensive microphones, but this is considered a budget mic. The really good microphones, which are ridiculous. They're hundreds of dollars, if not thousands, and you need like an XLR interface and a mixer, and this you don't. So
Mhm.
yeah, and as
Yeah.
John said, so I've got it in kind of a shotgun mode on a tripod. It's got a 1/4 inch screw. This tripod did not come with it. This came with like a webcam or something, I think. Um and it basically, you place the two lavs in there for charging, and you can use one of them as the microphone, which is what I'm doing right now. Um with it sitting on a table, it's about, I don't know, 7, 8 inches away from my face at the moment. Might be a little further as I move my head around. But I thought I'd give it a try. I was looking for something even smaller than my normal mic, and this is a kind of a budget mic too. I think this is maybe a little over $100. I had to go buy the stand for it separately. It doesn't have a 1/4 inch screw, interestingly enough. So you need to get a different kind of stand. The one problem, well, I don't know if it's a problem. The one thing I will note is that's at the bottom of the case. There is a little pull-out receiver, RF
Hmm.
receiver, that you plug into anything, an iPhone, an Android phone, a Mac, Windows PC, whatever, with anything with a USB thing. Unfortunately, on my MacBook Air, the only two USB ports on the left side of my MacBook Air um, are pretty close together, and this let me see if I can get closer.
Yep.
This is kind of wide, and so what I found out is I could not plug in my hub into the MacBook Air and this receiver for the Boya wireless. So fortunately, I have a Ugreen USB-C extender. Basically, there's a plug on one side and a receptacle on the other for USB-C. So I plug that into here, plug that into my MacBook Air, and it seems to be working fine. but I've plugged it into iPhone and Android phones with cases on, and the USB-C plug is long enough to kind of get to where it needs to be, and there's a port to be
Mhm.
used. So I was quite pleased with that. Well, I did have some problems pairing it initially, although now it seems to have disappeared. I don't think you had any pairing problems. I think
No, I
yours
didn't.
pretty
Mine
much
paired
worked out of the
just fine,
box.
yeah. Didn't have to do a thing to it.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm glad that it's working out for you, and
Yeah.
I'm glad it's working out for me too, because like I said, I did have some pairing problems. Um, anyway, it's kind of a remarkable deal. I mean, I don't have any. I'm not reviewing it or anything like that. I actually paid cash money for this, and it comes with like a couple of dead cats for the lav, and it comes with a giant windshield for the when you're using it in shotgun mode. Or so lots of fun. I'm going to temporarily switch back to, let's see, let's switch back to the Comic as for comparison. So this is back to the eJoy, testing 1 2 3, and then I'm going to switch to my MacBook Air. All right, so I've switched to the MacBook Air's microphone, which is like kind of far away. It's like an arm's length away from me. And then I'm going to do the rest of this podcast using the Boya. So hopefully John and I will sound relatively, I mean, obviously our voices are different, but from a microphone point of view, we're using the same mic. So it should be kind of first time ever, I think we've used the same mic, except maybe AirPods Pro at the same time.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.